What's up, y'all? We are back. Brand new series here in Out of the Park Baseball 25. We will be taking over the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's taken me a little bit to decide on a team. It's been a busy summer, so I kind of took it off from doing all this stuff. But we're coming back now. And, I've been thinking about doing, what team to do for this series. And, I'd settled on kind of like the Cardinals, a couple other teams. He's between the Brewers and the Cardinals. They're kind of at different places in their development. The Cardinals are kind of on the tail end with not much of a future, so that kind of intrigued me. But then I was watching the playoff game. I guess the wild card series game just a couple days ago, and the Brewers were like 2 outs away. 2-0 lead. Pete Alonso breaks their heart, and kind of feel for the Brewers, even if I did and really want to see the Mets win for whatever reason. Despite being a Yankees fan, I wanted to see the Mets win. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is we're going to be taking over the Brewers because I'm really intrigued about their future, and I'm enamored by how they run their team. They're like a mid-market team, so they're not like the Rays, but they have similar, philosophies as the Rays. But also they spend a little bit of money. Maybe not always in the right places and such, but really, really interested to see what we can do with this Brewers team. They have a pretty good farm system. Their current talent's pretty good. Their minor league system is third, best in the league. So like this isn't starting from zero, absolutely not. But I did think this would be a fun series to do. And the talent's good in the majors, so it's gonna be like a competitive retooling as we bring some of these guys up to the majors. So let's start with the roster breakdown here. And we'll start with Jackson Chourio because he kind of is the defining piece on this team. They signed him to a big extension before he's even played a major league game before the season. Had a really good year this year in real life. He's not going to finish top 2 in the major league in the rookie of the year, but could very well finish third. He had a great season, and we'll see if he can replicate that success in this game. He'll start the year on the major league roster, of course, as he did in real life, I believe. He's the pivotal piece for this team moving forward. But you have a lot of nice supplementary pieces. I guess you go to William Contreras next if you're talking about future outlook of this team and even current outlook. He is one of the best catchers in baseball. Had a great season in real life this year. Maybe not quite as good as his 2023 season, but he was excellent. A really nice defender. Like he's not, I would play this at catcher, although I usually like a little bit better defense. But I would definitely play him there, and he will be playing there. But a good bat. I really like William Contreras, one of my favorite catchers in baseball. And then Willy Adames, I guess, is the next guy. He's a free agent after the season. I don't know where he fits in long term with this team. We do have some money to spend. There's the ability to bring him back, but it's really going to be dependent on how he plays this season. Has been really solid for Milwaukee the past couple seasons since coming over from Tampa Bay. Hasn't really blown anyone away, but had a good season in real life. Who knows if they'll extend him, but Adames is probably the second or the third or fourth guy you mentioned. Christian Yelich would be the other guy. Was having such a good year in real life. Such a shame that he got hurt. Maybe that playoff series goes differently. If Yelich is healthy, maybe they don't even play in that wild card series. Like a lot changed when Christian Yelich went down. And in this game, he has some good ratings. He's middle of the road, has a good eye. Just the only thing is the big contract, which he still has a ton of years left on. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons after this one. One of the things in the series that I'm going to do is I cannot trade this contract unless he plays out of his mind, and then only if it makes sense to deal him. So Yelich will be with the team. I still really like him. And he will be my leadoff hitter. He'll be playing some DH left field, depending on kind of our defensive orientation. So there's Yelich. And then, I mean, we can kind of go around the rest of the field just normally. A lot of these guys are either young, unproven, or veterans who I don't really see a future on this team. We'll go behind the plate, I guess, with Gary Sanchez. He'll be playing a lot against lefties as our DH. Not a great defender or anything. Bad personality. He's on a 1-year deal. We'll see if we can get any production out of Gary. Eric Haas is a backup catcher. Okay defense. Not much of a bat. He's kind of a guy. You have Rhys Hoskins, who Milwaukee signed to a pretty sizable contract this year after not playing in 2023 for Philly. This contract, 3 years, $48 million, pretty backloaded. This year, only 12. Next 2 years, $18 million. We'll see how he plays. I like Rhys Hoskins, but I'm not probably his biggest fan. I just don't really value. I guess he's been a good hitter throughout his career. And he has a good personality, so I really shouldn't talk any bad about Rhys Hoskins, but I'm just not very high on non-elite hitting first basemen, although he has been a very, very good hitter. So he's like on the borderline of a first baseman that I would want on my team if you're not bringing any defensive value. And then you go to second base, Bryce Terang. Had a nice season this year in real life, following up a pretty brutal 2023. Has good speed, good defense. Not a guy that's locked into a spot by any means, but a player that I really like. And he'll be our starting second baseman going into the year. Andrew Monasterio. He is a, hybrid, second base, third base type player. Not really a shortstop, but has good work ethic. Still pretty young. Coming off an okay year in 2023. I don't know how he did in real life or anything, but not a guy I'm very familiar with, but he'll be on the opening day roster. Joey Ortiz, a player I definitely like. Had a really good first half of the year. Did he make the All-Star team? He might have, or he was maybe in the conversation. I could be misremembering that, but a really, really solid defender. He could play shortstop if we wind up letting Adames go. Not too much with the bat. He'll be starting at third base to begin the year, at least. We'll see what his future holds, though. And we talked about Adames at short. Talked about Yelich in left. Jake Bauers is a guy worth mentioning. He had the big home run that, could have defined the Brewers season when him and Sal Frelick went back-to-back, but unfortunately, Alonso kind of stole the spotlight, but man, Jake Bauers pimped that thing in that game. As a Yankees fan, he was very underwhelming, but played admirably in 2023 for us when everyone was hurt. I remember going to a game, and it was a 1-0 game, and freaking Jake Bauers, like our 3-hitter, and it's just like, that was rock bottom in 2023. But yeah. That's Jake Bauers. He'll play a lot against righties. He will be batting fifth and playing left field against righties. That's kind of how it played out there. Talked about Churio, and then Blake Perkins and Sal Frelick you can kind of talk to, similarly. Perkins a little bit older, maybe a little less proven in the majors, although Sal Frelick hasn't done a ton either. These guys are, similar players. Perkins brings more of the eye, not as much defense as Frelick, but Frelick has better contact ability, a little less power, more speed. These guys are going to play pretty, a pretty even split out in probably right field. I don't really love Churio defensively in center field with his current ratings, so maybe he gets booted out of center field at some point. In the minors, you got Joey Weimer down here, who I like. Didn't play incredibly well in 2023. I don't know if he got a ton of run this season for Milwaukee. I'm sure he got some playing time. I'm not really sure how he did. But Tyler Black, a really nice player. Unfortunately, has no defensive home. Really, this would be a perfect second baseman, but his defense just isn't really there for my standards. So, maybe he's a super utility guy, first base, come in a little bit at second base, Be a little bit of third base, corner outfield, stuff like that. But the bat will definitely play. That's Tyler Black. Wes Clark, a guy who was in my Marlins series, never really worked out in the majors, but has some upside, or at least a good floor with the eye and everything. Nothing too much else to talk about in AAA. So let's go to the pitching in the majors. This conversation starts with Freddie Peralta. Kind of has emerged as the guy Milwaukee has chosen to go with, trading Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff goes down, all that good stuff. He's a really good arm. The stamina isn't quite where I want it to be. Parlay that with, middling control. He's probably not going to throw more than like 180 innings, but he'll give you 180 good innings and is on a pretty team-friendly contract, incredibly team-friendly contract, actually, that will go 2 years after this one with that team option in 2026. And DL Hall, I guess, is the next guy I would talk about. I don't really know if he's a starter long-term. The control, the stamina, he's at best a 5-and-fly guy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for this Milwaukee team, but I really like DL Hall. He has great stuff. Just lacks control, lacks the stamina. And the reason he's my Game 3 starter is I kind of see him, Peralta, and Aaron Ashby in very similar ways with middling stamina, average to below average control. These guys are probably going to need bullpen behind them. And then you got like Colin Rea, who I think can go a little bit deeper into games, and same with Jacob Junis with good control and stuff like that. So that's just a bullpen management thing to stagger those guys. But Colin Rea is really interesting. A bit of a disappointing year in 2023. I don't know how he did in real life this season. But an overall solid middle of the rotation arm. Jacob Junis, you can kind of say the same things about. Very, very similar pitchers. Junis did have a good 2023 season, though. And then Aaron Ashby, always an interesting arm. I'm not sure if he's a starter or a reliever long-term. They did lock him up to a decent contract. We'll see how that ages, but he's only 25. He'll definitely get the first crack at this rotation spot. Over some other guys we have, like Joe Ross, who did emerge this season for Milwaukee in real life after being just killed by injuries throughout his career, unfortunately. Bryce Wilson, another guy, a former decently touted prospect in Atlanta. Didn't really work out. Has bounced around a couple of teams the last few years, but looked to have found a home last year in Milwaukee, pitching 76 really good innings for them. Then Trevor McGill, he'll be our closer coming into the year. We'll get to the injuries and everything in a minute, but McGill, a really solid arm, came over from Minnesota. I don't know what deal that was that he came over in, but good reliever. Joel Payamps, I think that's how you say it. Another really solid reliever in the bullpen, Hobie Milner, a good lefty to kind of supplement these guys. He's the only lefty in the bullpen at the moment. Talked about Joe Ross. Elvis Piguero, interesting arm, sinker slider guy. Vieira has some pretty good ratings. We'll see if he works out. Abner Uribe looks like a stud minus the control. If he can get that under control, then we could have a real arm in there. So that's that. As for the minor leagues, there's not too much to talk about. You kind of have the Milwaukee thing where they have a bunch of really solid arms. There's a lot of guys you can call on. I have 18 pitchers down here right now. That's usually what I like to run with. Carlos Rodriguez looks like a really solid arm, just going through the team. Tobias Myers is on the team in real life. Not sure how he'll work out as a starter in this, but a decent arm. Not really too much else to talk about there with the pitching. You do have a couple interesting prospects. Bradley Blaylock being one of them. Who knows what he turns into, but he's an all right. And then Jacob Mizorowski. Have to figure that one out before the next episode, but Number 25 prospect in baseball is kind of DL Hall with worse control and worse stamina. I don't think he's a starter long term. Definitely a guy I would look to deal if the right offer came along to upgrade that. Because, I mean, I love him as a reliever, but, man, if something came along where someone values him as a starter, that's a deal I would look to make. Should probably use a couple more arms up in Double-A. Let's just take some nothing guys to fill those roster spots. Didn't realize we didn't have that many guys there. I did go through and do all of this beforehand. 16 will be fine to start the year. And then other prospects we didn't get to. A couple of really exciting guys. Jefferson Kiro, love him. Work ethic, leader, intelligence, great defense, decent bat. Really, really excited for what he can bring in the future. Pretty near future, I'd say. As soon as this season, maybe he's up in the majors. He'll start the year in Double-A, though. And then Brock Wilkin, a decent first base prospect, and play some corner outfield. Maybe a little bit of third base in a pinch if you need it. An interesting bat. Not much defensive value, though. Robert Gasser, a decent arm who's major league ready, but he's out with an injury at the moment. Joey Ortiz talked about him. Luis Lara, he will be in high A to start the year. Good defender, decent bat. We'll see what he turns into. Still a long ways away. This guy Rodriguez has good power profile, power eye. I always like that. And then Josh Noth will round out our guys in the top 200. Pretty decent prospect there. Only 18 though. Luke Adams, another guy worth mentioning. He emerged as a major league player in our Marlins series, although mixed results and injury problems kind of drove him out of town. But he was a decent player. And I think there was someone else. Yes, Eric Benanti, third round pick by Milwaukee a couple of years back, has a good power profile, needs to get the strikeouts under control, but a young guy who knows what he can turn into. So that's where, that's kind of the team in a nutshell. Devin Williams out for 2 more months. When he comes back, he'll slot into that closer's role again. Has a team option for next year. We'll likely pick that up, pending any injuries or anything, or underperformance. Garrett Mitchell, a guy we're looking to get back. Really nice player, but he fractured his hand in the offseason, or maybe late last year. I don't know when it happened in real life, but has some good defense. Definitely an ideal 4th outfielder. Brandon Woodruff out for 5 to 6 months. That puts him like maybe he makes a start at the end of the year type. And they signed him to a really, really interesting deal this offseason. So they non-tendered him initially, and then a 3-year, $27 million deal. So $2.5 million to kind of not do anything this season, but they do have him under a $5 million guarantee next season, and kind of a mutual option for 2026. Although I don't know if the player opt out. So if he pitches well, he can opt out of this. If he opts in, we can then have that $20 million team option. So it's a mutual option in OTP's mind, basically. Taylor Clark, an interesting arm. He's out for 6 weeks. Wade Miley can definitely be an innings eater for us. I like Wade Miley a lot, and he'll be back in just a couple days. We'll send him on a rehab assignment and all that. And then Christian Arroyo looks like he had a bit of a setback, but a player that I like and can be a utility man for us. So I think that's it. Enough blabbering. Let's get on with opening day. We're here March 28th. Freddie Peralta will be up against Jose Quintana for the Mets team that knocked them out of the playoffs just a couple days ago in real life. So let's do it. Freddie Peralta, Jose Quintana, opening day 2024, and we win 5-3. Sal Frelick, a couple hits and a pinch hit appearance or a substitute. Christian Yelich hurt after one at bat. That's not great. Rhys Hoskins shutting me up. Hits a 2-run home run in this one. Joey Ortiz had a multi-hit game. Bottom of the order had a bunch of hits. Peralta pitched pretty well. A couple too many walks. Threw a lot of pitches in 5 innings. But Joe Ross and Trevor McGill were able to close that one out. So we have an off day, and then it'll be Severino as Wade Miley is back. It'll be Severino against Colin Rea. I think it's Rea. But anyway, game 2. We take down the Mets 7-4 in this one. Nice day by Jake Bauers. He has 3 RBIs. A home run. It looks like it was a 3-run shot. Rhys Hoskins hits another one, and then Sal Frelick hit a home run. Nice day for the offense. I'm interested to see what the Yelich injury is. But Colin Rea pitched pretty well, and then Hobie Milner and Trevor McGill close it out. So still pending on the Yelich injury, but DL Hall here in Game 3 against Sean Manaea. And we sweep the Mets. Christian Arroyo is back. Still nothing on the Yelich injury. But a 7-1 victory. Gary Sanchez, 4 RBIs. Looks like he had a homer in this one. Jackson Chourio, his first career home run. Nothing really else offensively. Blake Perkins drove in a few runs. That's awesome to see. And DL Hall pitched great. 6 innings, 8 Ks, just 2 walks. And Bryce Wilson able to close it out for a 3-inning save. So we're going to go one more day. And Yelich fractures his rib, so he'll be out throughout the rest of April. Not a huge deal. I'd rather have the injury now than when we're pushing for the playoffs. So not the biggest deal there. But we'll need to find someone to fill his spot. So, I'm going to stop here, the recording, and then we'll pick up sometime, probably in May, to update how the team's doing. Okay, so we're back. It is June 4th, 2024. The Brewers are 35-26. Been on a nice little run here to pull ourselves within a game of the Cubs for the division. Still early, so nothing, too much to look at here yet, but we've been on a nice run, playing really good baseball down the stretch here. So you can see offense has really taken over in the last 3 games or so. I guess the last 2 mostly. We had this blowout win against the Phillies, who, they're an okay team. They're not horrible. We put up 6 runs in the 9th, which really put us over the top. But yeah, Freddie Peralta, he's the guy we should really start with because he's been excellent. His FIP it was in like the 120s last time we checked in. It's gone below, or a better than league average. Still not incredible or anything, but the results have definitely been there. And Freddie's, been on a crazy tear. So, the results are the results. And, the peripherals are what they are. I don't know if, that's more of long-term stuff. We'll see if Peralta can, hold an ERA under 2 for the whole season. I'd be against that. But as of right now, he's been excellent. And the offense, getting things done. We had this 13-6 win against the White Sox, a 6-2 win, and then a 5-1 win in that sweep. And then we took 3-4 against division rival Cubs, who are a game in front of us. That was a big series. Took 2 out of 3 against Boston, 2 out of 3 against Miami after getting swept against Houston in Houston. But that was on the heels of a 3-game sweep of division rival Pittsburgh and taking 3 out of 4 against St. Louis. Got swept by Kansas City, 1-2 out of 3 against the Cubs. So we played well against the teams, that we should be beating, or that we want to beat at this point, which are teams in our division that we're going to be fighting for. And it's been a really good start to the year. So I guess we can go through just hit some bullet points on these guys. Tyler Black up with the team. He was just crushing AAA. I couldn't keep him down anymore. So we had to make a couple corresponding moves. But Black is up with the team right now. He's playing a couple different spots: corner, outfield, first base, kind of mixing in there. Willy Adames has been incredible. And I misspoke earlier in the episode when I said he had an okay season for Milwaukee. He was really good in real life. Willie's been awesome as well in this series. There's the free agent thing to talk about. I don't really know what we do with that. I I don't know. I'd love to bring him back because he's a great defender, a really good bat. He's still fairly young, only 28 years old. He's definitely like a cornerstone piece, a captain on this team, A lot of the intangibles that Willie brings. So that's going to be a tough decision in the offseason, but we'll get there when we get there. Sal Frelick has had a breakout season, 132 WRC plus, 7 home runs with his 35 power. Way more than he hit last year, and about the same amount of plate appearances. He's been awesome, batting cleanup for us against righties. Garrett Mitchell has turned it on. He got off to a rough start, but you could see this tear of games that he's had recently. He's been awesome. He's played fine in center field, about average. That's pretty much all we need. But a really good start for Garrett coming off the injury to start the year. And William Contreras, sorry. I also said he didn't have as good of a year in 2024 as he did in 2023. That wasn't true. So after doing some analysis, he was really good in 2024 as well. But yeah, he's been awesome in this save as well. 119 WRC plus, on pace for 4 WAR. The defense has been about average, but the bat definitely brings enough that I'm okay with that. Rhys Hoskins has been up and down, but been on a nice little run here the last few games to get his numbers up. Overall, a decent season. I don't know if he's going to be worth this contract, but we will see about that. Christian Yelich has been much better since he's come back from his injury. Was a little shaky when he first came back, but has been a lot better recently. Mostly DHing for us at this point. But is playing some left field against lefties, but against righties he's DHing. Joey Ortiz has been just fine over at third. 91 WRC plus. The defense is coming along. It's still not quite there yet. I don't know if it'll ever get there with that weak arm, but maybe he's the shortstop next year with Adames leaving. We'll see. Christian Arroyo has come off the IL and given this team a bit of a spark. He's been hovering around league average. Hitting-wise, and he's had a couple big hits in some games that, just looking at the box scores and stuff, he's played a big factor for this team. Bryce Terang, really nice season, a little bit below league average at the bat, but an excellent glove, steals a lot of bases. I will take that all day out of him. Gary Sanchez has been up and down. He's the weak side platoon DH, backup catcher. We could definitely do a lot better. And then Jackson Churio, it has been a tough start to his career, but he's turned it on very much so recently. Still have a ton of faith in Jackson. I'm not going to give up on him, obviously, yet. He's only 20 years old and still a ton of development to go. And then Joey Weimer is up with the team. Hasn't done much in limited time this season. Other guys who have been with the team, Blake Perkins eventually got sent down. 65 WRC plus. The BABIP was low, but the strikeouts were really high. I just wanted to give Weimer a shot, which is why he got sent down. He'll likely be up with the team again at some point. Vieira really struggled in a couple games up in the majors. I had to send him back down. He's been up and down a little bit. Andrew Monastero, he got sent down. Didn't get off to a great start. He had a couple good games at the beginning, but struggled after that. But he's played well in AAA. Could get a call back up. I'm trying to teach him right field so we can be more of a super utility asset rather than just infielder. Brian Hudson was playing really well, relative to kind of how the bullpen was doing. He did have a rough game on his way out, or a couple rough games on his way out, but overall he wasn't bad. Oliver Dunn hasn't been up with the team. J.B. Bukowskis only got a couple innings, but he was fine. Jacob Mizorowski is up in AAA. He got off to a great start in AA. The 407 ERA isn't like that great, but the strikeout to walk stuff all looks good. Still concerned about him as a starter long term, but I will definitely give him a shot. Because I feel like I give up on a lot of these guys just because they don't have good control and they don't have great stamina. But, we send him to the lab and we work on the control, get up to 45. He's kind of like Freddie Peralta at that point, a better version. Or, maybe even like, I don't know what a good comparison would be. Like Garrett Crochet. I don't know if Garrett Crochet walks a lot of guys anymore, but But anyway, yeah, he's going to be a 5 and fly guy most likely, but if he's a really good one, that has value. And then as for like the rest of the minors, Jefferson Kiro, playing really well in Double A. He probably should just get called up right now. I thought I went through and did this, but looks like I didn't. Yeah, I'm going to do promotion, demotion stuff. I usually do it at the beginning of June anyway, so it's a good time for this. Robert Gasser's back as well. So yeah, we're getting some reinforcements here. But yeah, that's the team right here in June. As for like buyers or sellers, at this point, we're definitely going to be buyers at the deadline here. The biggest holes, I would say, I like Ortiz, but he's not really cutting it at third base. I'd much prefer him in like a backup role at this point. So a third baseman would be great. I do have a couple guys out there on a short list that I've been collecting. So how the heck do I get to this? I thought it was in here. Oh no, sorry, it's in here. Player search and short list. Okay, so I have a couple guys that I'm just keeping my eye on. Yohan Moncada, not having a good year, but he could be a good buy low guy. I mean, they'd have to eat a bunch of that contract if I was to take him on, but a good guy. I think we could buy low. Good defender over at third. Maybe the bat can turn around. We'll see. Definitely not my favorite of the guys. Michael Conforto. For a corner outfield type, a good buy low guy as well. Jazz Chisholm, went up to a 70 range in the outfield. Good for him. Always a guy I like, especially as a Yankees fan now. Love Jazz. I've always liked Jazz, but yeah, he's another guy I'm looking at. And then Jesus Sanchez, another guy from Marlins series, having a great year. I'm not sure what that would take to get him, or maybe we package him and Jazz and we try to get both of them. We have prospect capital to give up, and I haven't checked the trade block in a few weeks. No one really else has been added. And then, pitching we're always going to need. Giovanni Gallegos was another guy. Oh, yeah, I didn't add the pitchers that I was looking at. So, yeah, it was just Gallegos that I was... Oh, no, I put Steven Matz. Why the heck aren't these guys showing up? Oh, okay. He's on the default. I should clear this up. Okay, so Jesus Luzardo, a guy I'm looking at. I'm just kind of shopping around. This would take a king's ransom to get Luzardo, but might be worth it. Steven Matz, another guy, is more of a buy low type. The FIP is really good. The ERA is bad. I bet they would sell him kind of cheap. A good back of the rotation guy. Nick Pivetta, another guy, free agent at the end of the season. The Sierra is really good. The FIP solid. The ERA solid. So really like Nick Pivetta. And then Justin Steele, another guy. The Cubs are in contention, so this probably wouldn't happen. It's also interdivision, so that always gets a little hairy. Alex Cobb, a buy low guy potentially. The FIP is really good through 13 innings so far. They're only using him as a reliever. I can get him basically for free. It's a matter of if I want to take on any of his contract. Ryan Baracki's had a good year for Pittsburgh. Sean Newcomb was just traded to the Yankees, so that might not happen anymore. So yeah, those are just a few guys I'm looking at. Like, what would it take to get Luzardo? Yeah, okay. They're not completely against it. Like, I like Tyler Black, and I don't think I'd give him up in a trade. But like, maybe I would. I don't know. So the thing about Black is I really like him, but he's very limited defensively. He doesn't have any power profile, which, if he's going to play first base or even corner outfield, like I'd like a little bit of a power profile. Give me 20 home runs, 15 home runs. I don't know. He's probably a 10 home run guy at that rate. The eye is excellent. The speed is really good, though. He's just a really unique build. maybe unique isn't the right word, a rare build in this way. But I guess these guys come around all the time. I shouldn't really say that. And we'll get to how the pitching's doing too. I just want to really quickly browse. Yeah, I don't really want to give up. I mean, like, maybe Sal Frelick or Garrett Mitchell. But Frelick's been a big part of our team. Definitely not Kiro. I mean, Uribe is a guy I'd give up. A reliever. Yeah, he could be an excellent one, but we're picking up Luzardo in this deal. So, like, actually, hold on. I like Wilkin, but shoot, I mean, should I carry it? Yeah, okay. It's gonna take one of these guys to get it done, most likely. Who the heck was? I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Who was the other guy I was going to add to the trade? What the heck? Holy crap. I'm completely spacing out right now. Okay, so let me go back to this. Tyler Black, it was... Oh, yeah, okay, Uribe. So what if I threw Brock Wilkin and Uribe? Is he in AAA or is he in the majors? He's in the majors. Yeah. So that doesn't move the needle too much. It's going to take one of Black or any of these other guys. So, like, that's a trade I would do. Maybe not the second, but just something to monitor, I guess. So we'll go over the pitching really quick, and then we'll keep simming up to the draft and deadline and that stuff. So the pitching has been overall really, really much a strength. Peralta, we talked about him. We'll get to Wade Miley. But Colin Rea has been awesome. The FIP is about league average. If he's a league average starter, I'm totally cool with that. But he's been great. DL Hall has been a huge surprise. I didn't know if he'd be able to stick as a starter, but he's been awesome. And I guess maybe this is Mizorowski's upside. It's like a DL Hall, which, I mean, if he's giving us this, I'm totally cool with that. Aaron Ashby's also been really solid. So, yeah, we've had 4 really good starters. Wade Miley, he's just making a lot of money. I don't really want to cut him, but I can't keep throwing him out to the Wolves. He's been awful. He had a couple decent starts to begin, but, yeah, things have fallen apart. Jacob Junis got kicked from the rotation. He's been better as a reliever, but not that much better. Is it? Yeah, he's been fine as a reliever, but as a starter, man, he was brutal. Close to a 9 ERA. But I mean, the bullpen's overall been fine. Trevor McGill has been a huge bright spot. He's been awesome. Holby Milner's also been great. And then, Paguero's been solid when he's been out there. Joel Pyamps has gotten better after a really rough start to the season. But Taylor Clark came off the IL. He's been good in a couple innings. Uribe, we talked about him, but he's been really good. So, it makes me not want to give him up as much, but the FIP is also, whatever. This is a small sample size. It doesn't even matter. But, yeah, a lot of the rest of the bullpen kind of, we definitely made some moves. Eric Haas got DFA'd, by the way. I think we made other moves. I recorded this part yesterday. Definitely DFA'd someone, right? I DFA'd Jake Bowers. Oh, Bryce Wilson. Oh, yeah. So I DFA'd Bryce Wilson. He just wasn't really cutting it. I like to have my long relievers have options so I can move these guys up and down. He didn't have any option years left. Colorado wound up claiming him. So we say goodbye to him. Yeah, I guess that was the guy I was thinking of. So, all right, we're going to keep moving forward. We'll come back around the drafts. Okay, so we're here July 3rd. We have a few trades. So, I had this trade lined up to go get, kind of the big fish, I guess you can call it, and that was with the Marlins. Where the heck are they? Miami Marlins. I had this trade lined up, which would have brought back Jesus Luzardo, who I love. God, there's a fly in here. Andrew Nardi as well, and Anthony Maldonado would have came back for Tyler Black, Wes Clark, kind of a DH first baseman type. Wade Miley, we'd eat a little bit of the contract but get out of most of it. Joseph Hernandez and Oliver Dunn. So this wasn't a huge package to give up on, but I kind of want to see what Tyler Black has before I go and deal him. He's number 26 prospect in baseball, has some really nice ratings, and although I don't love his defensive profile, I want to see what we have in him first. He could definitely play a corner outfield spot in my estimation. So, my thinking with this is we have some money to spend this offseason, $36 million, and I don't even know if that's taking into account these team options that we have, like with, I guess we'd probably pick up Devin Williams and Colin Ray. A lot of money coming off the books this offseason. We want to make a big splash. Juan Soto is going to be out there, and he's kind of a guy I'm looking at to pair with Jackson Chourio in this lineup. So, that's looking ahead a little bit, but I kind of want to keep my options open. Luzardo would start making some big money. I think we can survive with our pitching staff how it is, and with another kind of minor trade, a 1-year deal. So the first deal is with the Mets, and I'm going to do this one. So it's a much smaller package to give up, as you can see, and we'd also get out from all of this Miley deal. It'd be Eric Brown, who's a nice little player, but nothing special. And Isaac Collins, kind of same story with him. Very similar players. Collins a couple years older. Maybe Ron has a little bit more upside, but those are, 3 not huge pieces. We're getting back a really nice return from the rebuilding Mets, who have really, really struggled this season. I think they're like 31-53. I was just looking, which is obviously, not even close to the playoffs in this, top heavy division. It's really 2 teams at the top, and even the Phillies haven't been that good. So, they don't really have a chance to make the playoffs. Severino's an expiring deal. They're getting back some guys in return who could maybe make an impact on the major league team. And they're giving up Luis Severino, who we will get back in return. He's having an okay season, been about a league average pitcher. But we could use a league average pitcher in this rotation at this point. And I like Severino too. So he has some decent ratings, and if he plays well enough, maybe we can extend him. We'll see. And then Reed Garrett, a really buy low, older kind of arm. Hasn't done much at the major league level. Has been pretty decent in some innings this year. But I really like his ratings. He's very controllable. Has a couple option years, so definitely the type of guy that I would want in the bullpen. And Harrison Bader, who's been rotting away in AAA for him this season. He hasn't been anything great or anything, but they're willing to eat basically his entire $9.5 million salary. Will be on the hook for $1.4 million. So we gain a lot of salary and get some really useful players in return. So let's... Oh, okay, they were going to do this trade. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the heck happened in the last 30. Oh, okay, that's what happened. Was I going to eat some of the Miley deal? Okay, well, I had this trade lined up where it was going to work. Anyway, I'll get back to that in a second. We could throw in some guys to get this deal to work, but the second deal was with the White Sox. Not a huge package. We're going to pick up Yohan Moncada, who's had a rough year. There's some reasons to think he can bounce back. He has some good ratings. The BABIP's been a bit low, considering he's like a 60, 65 BABIP guy. So I think that can boost up. He becomes more of a league average hitter. Has played some good defense over at third, so he definitely has value defensively as well. And he's a free agent at the end of the year, $0 buyout on that $25 million team option, which we will almost certainly not pick up. And in return, they're going to pick up Joseph Hernandez, Brewer Hickle. Hicklin. 28-year-old, pretty decent player. He's played well in AAA, but I don't really have a spot for him. Vinny Capra, 27-year-old with control. Not a bad player at all. And Wes Clark, is he in both of these deals? No, he's not. Okay, yeah. I tried to make that work. So those are the two deals. I got to make the Mets one work, but we're going to go through with those, and I'll come back once I get that to work. All right, for some reason, whatever, I'm going to throw in this 20-year-old Jaidir Arenamo. Definitely an interesting prospect, but doesn't really have the power, doesn't have the defensive profile that I really like. And, he's probably more valuable to another team than he is for me. So I'm going to toss him in. We're going to eat half of Miley's deal. They'll eat most of Bader's deal. And our money does improve still at the end of the day with them eating all of the Severino deal. And they'll eat 95% of Bader's deal. So we'll go through with that one and the White Sox deal as well. So big roster turnover in the first few days of July here. Oh, not the Cubs. White Sox. And we'll do... Okay, now... Give me a break. Whatever, we'll throw in a nothing guy here to make them happy, I guess. Let's see. Kind of starting to familiarize myself with this minor league system, but still not too familiar. I would go with Blake Perkins, but I still like him as a sixth outfielder type. Owen Miller's kind of rotting down in AAA. I like him, though, so I'm going to keep him around. Sure, we'll throw in this guy. Okay, so that'll get it done. Finally, we get those deals through. There's Wade Miley. That's not our team. And we are... Oh my goodness, the Milwaukee Brewers. Okay, so we have 4 guys that we need to add to the active roster. So Uribe has been really good. I don't really want to send him down, but he does have options. So we're going to do that. That'll get the ball rolling. So we brought in 2 arms that we like. So Junis has pitched well. Besides the one bad start, he's been really good recently. Ray has been pretty rough. So maybe he moves to the bullpen here. Or maybe Ashby. I think Ashby actually plays really well as a reliever. Joe Ross, I still believe in him, but it's just, the results haven't quite been there yet. Maybe he's a guy we just shop around to try to open up a roster spot. See if he has any value out on the open market. And he doesn't. So that's not a bad thing necessarily. It means we might be able to pass him through waivers. They only want to... Okay, so... that makes things easy. We're going to DFA Joe Ross. Don't really love doing that, but I think we can pass him through. And then in the lineup, we're going to send down Joey Weimer, and I think Jory Ortiz might be the guy to go down. I like his defense, but Christian Arroyo's been a real stud for us since coming back from the IL. So Joey Ortiz, we're everyday third baseman. He's going to be the roster casualty. I want to keep Tyler Black on the roster and see what he has. He's played really well. So we're going to do that. Then we'll add Bader, Moncada, Reed, and Severino to the roster. Severino will take Ray's spot, although we need him to make the start here. Severino's a little tired. Then Reed Garrett will slot into the bullpen. And then in the lineup, we can unshortlist him. So Moncada, I actually kind of like him in the 8 hole there. Low pressure. And then Bader can slot right into center field against lefties, and that really works out beautifully. Churio can play some right field. That was pretty good. I'll have Terang be the backup shortstop when we need him. Same here. So, okay, really good stuff there. I like how that went. We didn't give up too much prospect capital at all, and we keep our long-term payroll flexibility, although it did drop down. That's due to the team option on Moncada, which is right here. So, we really didn't lose any money long-term. So, We're going to keep moving forward. We'll come back with the next move. All right, so we have the 17th pick here in the first-year player draft, and we'll jump into it. Real life. Guardians had the first pick. They took Travis Bazzana. We'll see how this draft plays out. So, and I wonder if they updated these ratings to reflect more accurately how guys went in real life. I'm not sure how this will go, but let's see. They take Charlie Condon, first pick. I like that pick a lot. J.J. Weatherholt, I believe he went top 10 in real life. Travis Bazzana, first overall pick. Not really my type of player here, but he goes number 3. The A's take Connor Griffin, big upside guy. And we'll sim to our pick, see who's there. All right, so always like looking at college guys first, just looking at the age here. Interesting player there, but not really my type. Luke Holman, definitely my type. Multi-pitch guy, good pitch mix. Throws hard enough, good build, 6'4". Carter Holton, kind of same story with him, just turned down a little bit. Jarrett Jones, massive power, but nothing else. Hagen Smith, always love Hagen Smith. He went top 10 in real life. He went top 10. Did he go to he went to the White Sox, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to sort through this, and we'll go over what kind of what guys we're looking at and kind of what we decide once I sift through the draft. All right, so looking through the draft board, it's become apparent that a college starter is probably the way to go here. So the guys that I had my eyes on, Luke Holman, we had Carter Holton, very similar names, and then Hagen Smith as well. But then for high school batters, Michael Molinax, an interesting player for sure. And then we had, I went pretty far down. I don't even know if there's anyone else worth talking about. There's a bunch of good high school guys, but I'm not a really big high school guy when it comes to these drafts. So the guy I settled on was Luke Holman. Definitely has the upside to be like a really good number 2 starter, maybe a good number 3 starter on a good team. Don't really know anything about his personality class. Hopefully it doesn't suck. $6 million demand, so a little bit expensive, but we have the money to do it. So, maybe Carter Holton would be a better pick if we wanted to save some money, but at this point, I'd rather go for the better player. So Luke Holman will be our first pick, recommended slot, $5.7 million. So we'll meet his demand. And, maybe these guys are hanging around. We do have a supplemental pick coming up, so it's possible one of those guys slips to us. And Carter Holton does. Did Hagen Smith by any chance? He did. He might be too good to pass up. The floor is just really good with him. He has a sidearm, which I don't typically like because his splits are not going to be great, but I definitely think he can be a good pitcher. So, yeah, it's between him and Carter Holton. Where the heck is he? Oh, my goodness. Okay, here he is. So, actually, let me compare these two. So, if you look at potential, Hagen Smith definitely has a little bit more upside. The floor is also better with Hagen Smith. The stuff is better. The pitches are better, at least currently. I do like his OSA ratings. Like, that's a really good arm there. If that home run and movement was just to tick up a little bit, and the control as well. He is a little bit shorter. I think Hagen Smith has probably got a couple inches on him. Yeah, he's 6'3", so a little bit bigger. Or we go with a high school player. We go with Mike Molinax, someone like this. That might be 3 or 4 years down the road from making an impact. Definitely not a high school pitcher at this point. Slade Caldwell, it just has no power, unfortunately, and also can't really play center field. There's enough interesting hitters here, but none of them really caught my eye. There was maybe one or two guys that I liked coming down here. Cody Schreier, a really interesting one. He is a college guy, but not too far along. He is a good leader, good work ethic. The defense is probably only second base. He does struggle with Ks. Doesn't have a ton of power. So I don't really know how that profiles in the majors. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with one of Smith or Holton here. For some reason, I'm intrigued by Holton. Is he cheaper, significantly cheaper than Smith? Not really. I mean, Smith just has such a better floor. So I'm going to go with Hagen Smith here. He's also impossible. Okay, never mind. That settles it. So his demand is a little bit over slot. So I guess we could save a couple bucks going with Carter Holton. His demand truly is 1 point. Okay, yeah, it would be a little bit cheaper. Man, this is tough. I just don't like Smith because he's a sidearmer. But I'm gonna go for it. Let's do it. Hagen Smith, we'll make him our second round pick, or our second pick in the supplemental round here. Meet his demand. And yeah, he I imagine he was drafted pretty soon after. Yeah, first pick in the second round. So now kind of back to the drawing board here. After some of the guys that I really liked went, we can roll the dice on one of these guys. Haven't typically had good luck with them though. Much more intrigued by like a guy like this with good control, and not so reliant on his stuff. But Molinex, he's impossible. Yeah, I can't afford that. Let's look at hitters only. Slade Caldwell, he's just not really a big enough guy. 5'9", 175. He's super intriguing with the bat to ball skills, and the eye is pretty good. He's good work ethic, good intelligence. He's cheap. And I'm not opposed to taking him, but Logan DeGroot, even him, like he's just a step up, I think, as an overall offensive player. Michael Torres is interesting too. Cade Brown has some skills, but he's impossible. Conrad Kaysen I like. JD Dix, he's okay. Jaden Melendez is really interesting with his personality, good defense, good power and eye profile. Cody Schreier's still out here. I mean, Schreier is a really nice player. None of these other guys really intrigue me too much. So let's go back. Look at pitchers. I mean, these guys look good on paper, but man, I've just been burned too many times. I mean, this dude could be a sick reliever, but that's about it. Maverick Rizzi. Ooh, this guy, see, he's pretty far along. Just 3 pitches, probably a reliever. Sucks. This guy's interesting. I definitely need 4 pitches to take a guy to be a starter. If a 3-pitch guy turned out to be good enough to start, that's great. But my success has come with 4-pitch guys in this game. And definitely guys with a breaking ball, like Jordan Stevens. Okay, he does have a slider. Never mind. I lied. He's actually fine. Tanner Witt, 22-year-old. I had him in the Rockies series last year. He turned into a decent player. He's kind of unspectacular, though, with his stuff movement control, all about average. Does have a great fastball, potentially. Throws hard, 22 years old, good build. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup's a really nice pitch mix. So Tanner Witt's definitely a guy I'm looking at. Oh, man. I don't want to take another pitcher here, though. But there's just no hitters that I really liked either. I guess Jade Melendez would be the guy that I like the most. What does the scout think? It's also tough when we have one of the top catching prospects in baseball and a great catcher in the majors to take that leap of faith on this guy. He's 21 years old. Like, is he even going to play? I don't know. I guess you don't do that in Major League Draft. You just go for the talent. I mean, maybe we just go for Slade Caldwell. He's interesting enough with this bat. The avoid case is sick. Man, just so much bust potential. It's him or Michael Torres, I think, if we're going to go hitter here. And Torres actually has some pitching ratings, which definitely intrigues me. He's not a bad arm. But I think Caldwell's a step above him. And if we work on his defense a little bit, he can definitely be a center fielder. So let's go with Slade Caldwell here. The young 18-year-old bat-to-ball guy. And, we could even take Torres here and double dip at that position, which I kind of actually like. But Melendez is still, I think the value's too good to let Melendez fall any farther. This is the second round here. Oh, we have a supplemental second round pick too. Interesting. I don't know what that pick is. Cody Schreier is also like a guy that's probably fallen a little too far. Let's go with Schreier. We'll maybe Melendez will be here, and he is. So we're going to take him in the third. Really cheap demand as well. So, Cade Brown, he's impossible. We'll go through 2 more picks here. Go through the first 5 rounds, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I still do like some of these high school arms. It's a good time to start taking these types. Got through 87 to 89. I just don't think that plays, unfortunately. So it was Cash Mayfield who I liked, and Maverick Rizzi, I think, was the guy I really liked. Good work ethic, good leader, really nice pitch mix if this all works out. He's 6'8", 235. That's my type of guy. I'm taking him here. And then we'll go through one more pick. And I'm not entirely sure. Is Tanner Witt still here? I know we were looking at him earlier. I doubt he fell this far, right? I just know he was 22 years old, so I'm just looking at that number. I don't see him. So he likely got drafted already. Who's my scout think? Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the 87 to 89. I think we could throw some more darts at high school pitcher in a later round. So let's see, just maybe one more hitter to cap off these first five rounds here. Maybe a high school or maybe a college guy, but I'm not seeing much. Rodney Green, former, I shouldn't have been a believer in him. King from the Marlins series. He had like a good half season, then he was horrible. Jack Penny's, I actually really like him. As a high floor guy, I'm going to take Jack Penny. He could fill into the minor league system all right. So I'm going to do the rest off camera. We'll come back with the results. Okay, so we went over our picks in the first 5 rounds, and I really liked what we did the rest of the draft. So we took Christian Little in the 6th round. Limited upside with the stamina and the control, but could be a great reliever. If that control ticks up, maybe as a starter. We took Jordan Stevens, decent upside arm here. A 3-pitch guy, so maybe he's limited long-term as well, but a good risk to take there. Levi Sterling, kind of same story with him. He's a 4-pitch guy, which I'm a little more intrigued by. Nate George, great defensive outfielder, good speed. I believed in him in the Marlins series, but he never really worked out. Maybe we'll have some better luck here. Lizardo Colorado was an awesome pick, I think, here in the 10th round. Really nice upside. And it was between him and George in the 9th round, and then Colorado was there in the 10th, so those picks were really nice. Back-to-back 9 and 10. Ryan Higgins, a high floor. Maybe he's a back end of the rotation guy who comes up for a couple of years and, we use all his option years or something. Noah Sheffield, decent upside infielder. I just want to get a couple more hitters here. Connor Foley, a really nice upside reliever. Could even start potentially. Low work ethic, so, those are his concerns, but a really nice build and could be a great reliever again. Blaine Brown, not the most interesting guy, but high work ethic, high intelligence, good upside already. Maybe that ticks up a bit. Jake Faraday, another one of these reliever types that I like to take in these late rounds. Ryan McPherson has some upside as a starter, good work ethic, intelligence. We have Hudson White. I took a couple of catchers back to back because we don't have a ton in our system. This guy's really good at framing, good work ethic, and intelligence. 21 years old, so a little bit older, but not too old. Andrew Wu, kind of same story with him, a little bit less of a bat. And doesn't have the work ethic, but similar player. Renee Lasher is another leader, work ethic, intelligence, decent defense. And with our last pick, Drew Graham, a guy I really like in the 20th round. These are the kind of guys I like to take. Really decent upside. Has a bunch of flaws, obviously, with the control, and, he doesn't throw very hard, but maybe he works out in the long term. So that was a pretty successful draft, I would say. The first year draft is always kind of not underwhelming. The second year is a lot worse, but we did pretty well to make out in that draft with what we got. So we did go on a little bit of a skid. We won, I think this was the first game after the trade, or maybe we've only played 2 games. I'm not sure, but we're 53-41, 5 games back at the Cubs for the division. 6 games up on the Cardinals. They're in 3rd place. We do hold the first wild card at the moment, but the Padres and Dodgers right behind us. Their division, the Giants are in 1st with one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. So this NL West looking like they'll get 2 wild cards potentially. Then the rest of the pack is kind of behind us. So we're in good position here to make a push. I'm not going to give up too much here in the first season to improve this team. I think we're pretty solid across the board. 7th in runs scored, 7th in runs against, very middle of the road. And maybe we've overperformed a bit to this point. We're actually, we've overperformed just a bit. +5 differential, which is the most in baseball, tied with the Giants and tied with the Rays up here. So, we've overperformed, but I think better days are ahead with the deals that we made. Hopefully Moncada can turn things around. He hasn't been great in 6 games. I guess it's been 6 games since we made the trade. He hasn't been very good, but still hoping there's better days ahead for him. And Luis Severino in his first start, he went 6 innings, 3 runs, which is pretty damn good. And the peripherals are really good as well. So maybe some batted ball unluck there. 375 BABIP in that first game. So yeah, that's that. We're gonna go to the All-Star game, see what kind of All-Stars we got. We lose 6-1 again. We get swept by Pittsburgh. And Brandon Woodruff, he suffered a setback. Likely gonna miss the rest of the year at this point unless he makes a recovery. Before then, we lose 5-0. So we've been on a big skid since that trade. Jacob Junis here, and we win 10-1. Finally, the offense is able to do something here. Moncada's still been rough since we dealt for him. Tyler Black's taking a step back after a hot start as well. But Garrett Mitchell, man, I didn't even mention him, but he's been incredible since coming off the injured list. The defense in center field has definitely fallen off, but the bat's been awesome. And, the offense is playing pretty well. 7th run scored, 7th runs against. Very middle of the road in both facets. But first and stolen bases, that's awesome to see. A decent defensive team. And hopefully Bader can help us out in that regard. He's only played 1 game so far, 2 games. He's just been, hasn't had to play a lot in center field because we haven't faced a lot of lefties, I guess. So we have 1 more game. All-Star teams are announced. We'll go Severino here. We win 6-5 in extras. A walk-off single by Christian Arroyo, who's been really clutch for us since coming back from his injury. And we take that game. Devin Williams had his first bad game of the season. He'd been pretty good since returning from injury, but that was not a good one there. But we were able to win anyway. And we'll check out the All-Star teams. I'm guessing Freddie Peralta will be on the team. Besides that, I'm not really sure if we have anyone else. Check out the AL. Ian Hamilton starting for the Yankees. What the heck? But he makes it. I'm guessing mostly as a reliever. Gleyber Torres makes it as a Yankee. And Aaron Judge tore his something in his knee. Soto's missed most of the year. So those guys aren't even up here. For the Yankees. Bryce Wilson made the All-Star team. What the heck? Looks like he was probably the Rockies' lone representative. But we dealt him mid-year, or waived him, I think. Zach Wheeler was another guy I was looking at trading for. He had been so bad. He's been much better since we last looked. He had an ERA over 5. It was not looking good. And that's shocking. Okay, well, I guess Freddie Peralta did not make the All-Star team. That's crazy. Okay. So William Contreras makes his catcher. Definitely well-deserved. He's had a great season. Do we have anyone else? Yeah, that's it. So William Contreras, our only All-Star. Freddie Peralta snubbed big time. I know he doesn't have the WAR necessarily, but the numbers are really good, and hopefully he can use that as fuel here in the second half. But we'll sim ahead to the next part of this first half, and we'll go through the deadline if there's any other moves to be made. I think the bullpen could probably use a little bit more, but Joe Ross made his way back onto the team, by the way. Yeah, it's just kind of how it worked out. But he's back. He refused demotion. I didn't really want to lose him, so I brought him back. Taylor Clark's maybe a guy we can look to upgrade from. The rest of the bullpen's in good enough shape. Reed Garrett I still believe in, even if his numbers haven't been great since coming over. Small sample size. Ashby's been moved to the bullpen. I know I said it was going to be Rhea, but we went with Ashby instead. But, these guys will be interchangeable down the stretch unless we make another move. So, yeah, we're going to sim ahead. We'll be back. All right, it is July 24th. We're on a nice little run here, but I think our bullpen needs some help. So the Cardinals are definitely looking to move some of these relievers, and we're going to give Joey Wiemer, who is a really nice player, and I would like to keep, but this trade is just kind of too good to pass up. We're also going to give Joe Ross, who we, again, DFA'd after another really bad performance. So we're going to pick up Giovanni Gallegos, who has 1 year left after this one at $6.5 million. They're going to eat all of that deal. Kenyon Middleton, a free agent after the season, essentially, a $6 million team option. I don't know if we'll pick that up. Probably not. But he will be involved in this trade. They're going to eat all of that contract. And then Nick Robertson, kind of a sneaky get here. He's had a great season for them. After being passed around between LA and Boston the past few seasons, has found a home here in St. Louis, but he's going to be shipped over here to the Brewers. So Joey Wiemer, a nice player, but I mean, we're getting 3 good relievers back in return. And I thought about throwing in Taylor Clark in this deal, but I still like Clark, so I'm going to hold on to him for now. Could be a guy who gets DFA'd at some point, though. And that would send down Vieira, who has struggled in the majors. Payamps would go back down in this orientation of this deal, although I like him, and maybe he deserves to go down instead of Clark. So maybe Clark just gets included in this deal just to get rid of him. I still feel like he's a good pitcher, though. I don't want to give him up for nothing. So it would be Vieira going down. Peguero would go down, but he's been good. Or no, he hasn't. So yeah, we could send down Peguero. Okay, so that would open up 2 spots, and then we need a 3rd spot. So it would be Peguero and Vieira, and we need a spot. It'd be Clark. I don't have anyone in the rotation I'd want to get rid of, so maybe, okay, we're going to throw in Taylor Clark, because I don't think he's going to have a spot on this team. We could just send Robertson down to AAA, but he's too good. But actually, I'm going to do that. We'll figure that out when we get there. So this will be the trade. It'll be Gallegos, Middleton, Robertson for Wiemer and Ross. I'm going to throw in Clark. Okay. This makes it a little bit more fair. I actually didn't have to throw in Joe Ross. So it would have just done these 3 for Wiemer straight up. That felt a little cheesy. So I'm going to give him Joe Ross, who is a guy with potential, who I think the Cardinals would value in real life. Just as a guy to eat innings, and then Taylor Clark as well. So we're going to do that trade, open up a couple spots in the bullpen. It's going to be Vieira and Peguero going down, and we'll add all 3 of these guys to the bullpen. So, maybe not the most realistic trade or anything right there, but a trade that we need to make as a team, I think. So the middle of this bullpen really revamped with that deal. We still got Ashby. Payamps has had a really nice season. Still got Hobie Milner and McGill, who have been excellent. And Devin Williams in the back end. So this bullpen, just about as good as anyone in the league. Even with a subpar starting rotation, I think this is a good enough pitching staff to get us, competing for a World Series here. And for the offense, Churrio's been much better recently. So I still think he's going to turn things around here in the second half. He's been on a nice little tear past few games. Moncada's struggled, but we kind of just got to roll with him at this point. There's really no other third base options out in the market. At least realistic options. Yeah, there's really no one unless you want to go get Jorge Polanco, which that's probably not even an upgrade. Could get Suarez. He wouldn't be bad, but he's had a rough season. So yeah, there's not really much out there. So yeah, we're just going to go into the second half with this team, and we'll sim up to the deadline here and come back and wrap this episode. All right, so we're here at the deadline, and no more moves to really be made. We played really, really good baseball recently, so we took 2 out of 3 against Miami, swept the Braves. We actually have the last game here, but we took the first two games against the world-beating Braves. They've been excellent this season. The best team in baseball. So huge to take the series against them. But let's just go through first, pre-deadline. I want to say first half because this is well past the first half. We're about, 108 games in. So we'll check out the stats here. Garrett Mitchell leading the way, according to WRC Plus, 134. He's been awesome. Just a huge piece of this offense that I didn't really expect to come through like this. But yeah, he's been great. Sal Frelick, another guy who I'm really surprised about. He has 9 home runs, which I didn't really think he was capable of, but a 120 WRC plus has fallen off a bit, but still on pace for 3.5 WAR. So that's, these were the guys I was a little bit shaky about in the outfield. I may as well finish with Churio, who did have a disappointing first half, but, he's still 20 years old, and he's very much improving as we move deeper into the season. If he could finish like a 90 WRC plus, that'd be great for his first year. He's stolen 24 bases. 75% rate's not great, but still really happy with Churio in his first season. And he's only going to get better from here. Hoskins has been really good. 119 WRC plus. On pace for 30 home runs, 90 RBIs. Just a really solid season out of the veteran first baseman. Maybe not going to live up to this contract, but he's been really good, and he's been a big piece of the offense. Willie Adames has been great, on pace for 5.5 WAR. He's been our best player offensively when you take into account the defense, which he's been great at shortstop this season, and really good offensively. So, he'll be a free agent at the end of the year, a really valuable player. We'll see if we can bring him back or if there's other options out there. William Contreras on pace for 4 WAR. He's been great as well. Another one of these really valuable pieces to the offense. He's batted second, third, middle of the order all season. Christian Arroyo's been a huge surprise, 114 WRC plus. He's playing a lot against lefties, but has been really good against righties as well. Just playing really, really good baseball right now. And Christian Yelich, a really nice season, 113 WRC plus. Again, not a guy who's going to live up to this contract at this point, but if he can give us a really good bat, good enough defense out in left field when he has to go out there. He's mostly DH this year. We'll take that from him. Tyler Black has definitely fallen off since a good start coming up. Only 107 plate appearances, and I still have good faith in what he's going to be as a player. He's been fine. Bryce Terang has had a really nice year despite only hitting 1 home run, almost a league average WRC plus. That's mostly driven by extra base hits, I guess. But even then, he doesn't have a ton of hits. He's only batting 259. I'm not really sure how this WRC plus comes out to 96, but he's been a fine hitter this year and a really good defensive second baseman as well. Although he hasn't really been good over there this season, but in theory he's good. And Gary Sanchez as our weak side platoon guy, he's been fine. As a backup catcher, he's had to come in. He's actually been pretty good defensively in 22 games that he's had to catch. His split's actually much better against righties, but his play a lot more against lefties. You could do worse for a backup catcher. He's a free agent after the end of the year. Moncada's definitely turned it on since it's a tough start for us, up to 268 average. Still not really much power, but he's been a lot better. A good defensive third baseman, kind of just what we needed at the bottom of the order. And then Harrison Bader hasn't played a ton, but a good defensive player when he's been called upon. 1.1 zone rating in 61 innings is excellent. So that's the offense. Pitching-wise, Freddie Peralta still doing his thing. On pace for 200 innings, sub-3 ERA, 2.56. I kind of was expecting some regression, and in some regards there has been, but not nearly as much as I expected. He's still been fantastic this year. A huge all-star snub. And then DL Hall has been a great number 2, in some regards even better than Freddie Peralta, but the results just haven't really been there. But the FIP is much better than Peralta. He's had a great year as his first season starting. And Luis Severino has been phenomenal coming over. 25 innings in 4 starts, sub-2 ERA. The peripherals are all great. He's been awesome. Jacob Junis has had a solid season, about a league average starter. Um, the WAR really hasn't accumulated too much, but he's only pitched 100. He's only on pace to pitch 132 innings. He split time between the rotation and bullpen, but he's carved out a nice role here as a fourth starter, fifth starter. And Aaron Ashby has been really good this season. He made his first start in his return to the rotation. It was excellent. He's going to hold this spot for now. As Colin Ray gets pushed to the bullpen after a rough start for him, a rough series of starts here that pushed him out of the rotation. Still don't think he's the worst player in the world, but I probably won't pick up that team option next year. And the bullpen's been pretty fantastic. Devin Williams has been good. Not great, but he's been good. Walking a few too many guys for my liking, but rounding into form here as the season goes on. Trevor McGill was phenomenal in the first half. I don't know how he didn't make the All-Star team. I guess he did, actually. Okay. I missed Trevor McGill making the team. At least I caught it now. But, yeah, he was incredible in the first half. Lost his closer role just because Williams has the, has had that role for years. So just a seniority thing, but he's been amazing. Hobie Milner's been awesome. Just as good as McGill in most regards. Kenyon Middleton is still not pitched for us. We just haven't really needed him. Nick Robertson, same story with him. Joel Pyamps has had a great season. The FIP is minuscule, probably the best on the team, I'd say. Not giving up any home runs, not really walking a ton of guys, striking out a good amount. He's been great. And Gallegos has pitched 4 2/3 for us, and it's been excellent. We went over Colin Rea as well. As for other guys who made the team or who've been on the team this year, J.B. Bukowskis has played a little bit, hasn't been up since the start of the year. Reed Garrett did get demoted, mostly due to needing a fresh arm. Still have faith for him long term. Brian Hudson pitched a handful of innings. He was fine. Andrew Monastero has not been up since the start of the year. Joey Ortiz still down in the minors, but playing really well for what it's worth. I would like to try to flex him out, and he plays him out. Yeah, he can play a little bit outfield, but not really that well, so we'll probably just keep him as an infielder. Elvis Peguero was fine when he was up. The FIP not really pretty. Gave up a few too many home runs. The walk rate was a little high. But he's definitely a nice up and down piece right now. Blake Perkins hasn't really been up. I gave him a lot of run at the beginning of the season and just didn't really do too much with it. So he's down in the minors again. He's doing okay down there. And Abner Uribe, a guy I still have faith in, and did pitch pretty well when he was in the majors. But again, we just don't really have a spot for him at the moment. And then Thiago Vieira, a guy who really struggled in the majors in 8 2/3, but has been lights out in AAA. Just really hasn't gotten the opportunity yet. And Oliver Dunn's still here on the 40-man, but he's down in AA. Other news, I am trying out Jacob Mizorowski as a reliever right now. I think there's a good chance he might be needed in September. I'm going to add him to the 40-man before the end of the year or before September hits so that he is eligible for the postseason if we need him. I really like him as a reliever, and I think he can come up and be an elite one right from the jump. So, I'm playing him as a reliever right now just to see how he does, get him ready for that role. Jefferson Quiro's down here in AAA. He might get a call up in September as well. And besides that, this team's looking pretty good here coming into the playoffs, and hopefully we can make that push. Hopefully the team looks good. I was a little late to send my new pitchers, or the guys I got in the draft, to A-ball, but Hagen Smith's down there now. Christian Little, Jaden Melendez in A-ball. These guys will get a little bit of run, I think. They still have games, right? Yeah, they still have a handful of games left, so they'll get a little bit of run through the end of the season. We'll check in with them at the end of the year. So that's the episode. Thank you very much for watching. This could be a pretty long one, but this is episode 1, and we'll see you guys in episode 2. Peace.